Welcome back to the Love Yourself Unconditionally series. My next guest, and she's the last guest of today's live event. So she's I'm sorry, what's happening to me? For more than 10 years, Nicola has been helping big-hearted, energetic, sensitive, and ambitious clients to drop their fears and need for external validation and align who they are with their lifestyle, work, business through a heart connection, spiritual guidance, and soul-led manifesting through her heart-centered and limitless signature method based on shamanism, NLP. She guide her clients to fall in love with themselves and move forward with love, trust, and peace. So please help me welcome Nicola Fernandes. Hi, Nicola. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me, for having me. It's such an honor. And at this time, I'm so excited that you're doing this, topic that's so dear to my heart. Because I truly believe, the more we are in that love for ourselves, the more life for everyone on the whole planet is going to get better.
Absolutely. I love what you said.
When we are in love, then we don't have any more reason to be, anything negative because we have that love. So, yes.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, I love that. I love that. I said it beautifully. So share with us your journey, how you ended up doing this beautiful work. And
yes, beautiful. So, I am actually German, and I fell in love with a Portuguese man who lived in New York City. So I moved to New York City, worked in the industry, in the record industry on Times Square. I had the whole New York experience. And then my second child got diagnosed with autism. And that changed my life from one day to the other. I'm very driven and I'm very action oriented. And so I was like, what are we going to do? There's a reason she's in my life. And the doctors would say they don't know where it comes from and they don't know what to do about it. And so I more and more went into the alternative field, first, with therapy, then with, homeopathy and physical therapy, to more and more out there, right? Like, why is she in my life? What does that all mean? And, my husband was very generous. He let me go to so many seminars, and the craziest thing happened every time. And I would go to long seminars, between a week up to like a month, but mostly a week. But every time I came back after a week, she was better. She was better. I mean, so much so that they were questioning to really take off the diagnosis, which they never really totally did, but she's totally with us. If anybody knows about autism, it's like, because they are not really understanding what you're saying, they're like in a different zone, and she's totally with us, right? Totally with us. And she understands. She's just, a little bit younger now. She's 20 for her age, and she's just such a good person that she still needs, some help, because she just believes everybody is good and she doesn't want to think that there could be any danger. But anyway, so that brought me into the whole healing. And I realized it starts with yourself. There's nothing, even that we start as a reason that maybe your relationship doesn't work, or you don't like your workplace. Yeah, you have problems with your kids, but it all starts with yourself. Ooh, look at my papers. They all fell down. Somehow spirit is saying, yes, it all starts with yourself. And so I came to this, wanted to share all the things I learned and how important it is that loving ourselves, and, what's in the way, because, I'm still working on it. It's not like, oh my God, I'm so in love with myself. It's like a daily work. And so there are these steps that I developed, in my own path that really work well with my clients. So.
Wow, I love that. Thank you for sharing. And I love what you said, because we talked about that earlier, about the fact that it's a journey. It's like an ongoing journey, a very conscious journey, where you're making the choice to just love yourself. It's ongoing, never really stops. And I think that's also the beauty of it and the magic of it. So yeah, I love that. So I'm very curious about, in your work, you use like NLP and you use also shamanism. So tell us more about that. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge Bonnie. She's saying my daughter is 17, has Down syndrome, and is on the spectrum too. So I hear you. I'm totally with you there, Bonnie. So, I as I went to all the seminars, I was like, it was like 7 days I would take away, I have 3 kids, from my kids. And I was like, the first 1 or 2 days were like about the history, about the method or whatever I was learning. I'm like, no, I need to condense that. I need to, how can I get the fastest way to clearing, to moving forward, to being on that higher level? And so I'm picking, I'm mixing and matching between NLP and shamanism, whatever in that moment the client needs. So I'm very good at my intuition. That's, really one of my gifts, that I not only get a lot of guidance, but I teach my clients a lot of guidance. And so between, NLP is much more masculine, it's much more structured, it's much more mind oriented, while shamanism is much more going with the flow, clearing your karma, your ancestors, past lives, really getting into that energy where something has to connect it and it needs to be disconnected. And so between those two, I move back and forward, even in the session, depending on how I'm guided, what the client needs in that moment. And also because what I have seen is, the mind is such a great tool, but if we don't use it, it's like a wild horse. It just runs freely. And so if I don't have just a client, lying down and enjoying the healing, but if their mind is actually active in it and gets like a task, it's kind of like you brought a little 3-year-old, and if you give him a little toy to play, he's much more calm than if he just has to stand there and wait till the healing is over, right? So so it's like we involve the mind, and it also holds much better than, it's much more grounded and anchored down, the healing itself.
Yeah. So you said something really that I'd love to talk about, which is clearing, like stuff from ancestors. Can you just speak into that more?
And sure. So it's like it's kind of like there is a soul group we are born into, and so we all try to have this experience and learn from it. And so if we make our ancestors just wrong, or they never had the chance to heal what they're going through, for example, with alcoholism, you might have seen it in families that it might, sometimes it skips a generation, but it goes over and over until they heal it, right? And so it's really helping the ancestors heal that, because it comes back to you. We say we heal 7 generations forward and backwards, right? And so, for example, one really, really big element is instead of being upset with anything your ancestors did, seeing what the gift is. What did they bring to you? What did you learn? And so when we go into that honoring, right? Gratitude is so big, but that's one of the things, making maybe an altar for your ancestors and honoring them shifts already partially that energy.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And actually, this is something we like literally can apply to everything, instead of just being in the resentment energy, like just being resentful and like mad and angry, like this is happening to me and this happened because of that, instead of just kind of acknowledge and just ask yourself a better question, which is, what can I learn from this? I feel like that's a powerful question that can help you move forward, instead of just staying in that space of
and at the same time, Salma, there has to be some relief, because every negative emotion has to be also honored and relived and seen what's there, because it's kind of like when you have an issue and everybody says, oh, just continue going. No, there's something why that issue arose, right? So even working with resentment and what that but instead of taking it, that differentiation of a negative emotion, instead of taking it as something bad, taking it as a messenger and seeing what's behind it. And then it can by itself shift, and then it's so much easier to say, oh, what can I do instead?
I love that. Absolutely. Exactly. That's a great framing of it. I love that. So you mentioned you have like 12 steps, you said? Did I get
9 steps? Yeah. They're actually 3, 3, and 3. Okay. So I love numbers. I work a lot with angels.
Awesome. So tell us more about them.
Yeah, so it's really activate, align, and ascend. So I call it the AAA. So what I've seen, a lot of people talking about aligning, but first you have to activate, and activate is really activating your energy body, activating your chakras, activating them to receive, because, all the energy flows through your energy centers. And if they are clogged with other stuff, it doesn't work. So you really have to clear, old energies, limiting thoughts, limiting beliefs, and especially also, what you actually brought in through the lineage. It might not even be yours, it might not even be your belief, but you just inherited it, and it really happens. And so this activating is then all about letting that go and exchanging it for what you really want. And then when you align, it's really going into the integration of bringing in what we call, really new contracts. Everything you say in the unconscious mind, the unconscious mind is really smart, and it thinks everything you say you want. So whenever you say something just for a moment, it makes it like a law in your mind, because it thinks, oh, okay, this is what we want now, right? And so shifting that again into something that you really want. Right. And that's really aligning where you are going towards, instead of saying, donuts are not good for me. And then every time you eat a donut, your body makes sure it's not good for you because you said so, right?
Exactly.
You say, everything I eat brings me life force, right? And so you're aligning with, everything you do is going to benefit you. And then really connecting, aligning is also connecting with your heart and soul, really living. It's kind of like you cleared the lower chakras, and now you're going with your heart and soul and really going forward from a heart-centered place of getting that guidance, and really connecting to your body also, because there are a lot of messages, even, some people have bigger issues with their bodies, some have smaller, but they are all messages. They are messages from the unconscious that, when we go deeper, are so amazing of what the body is guiding us to do and to pay attention to. And so all that is aligning with your internal messages, your internal path. And then really ascend, for me, is it's not about going higher in terms of being not in this world. For me, is ascending is really living from that higher place of being in your heart, getting guidance, but always being connected. I think it's a lot about our connection on earth. We are spiritual beings, but for a reason in our body. So really living this amazing life, this physical life, with this higher vibration while we enjoy this life on earth. And, and lastly, really becoming a master. I have a program, Alchemical Mastery, to really know that you are the transformer of everything. And then it's like this beautiful ride. I always compare it to a surfer of, just taking the waves, the challenges will come, but you're going to so enjoy the surfing.
Oh, I love that. I love how you said that. So I will just start with the beginning. So activate. So what are some practices like you can really just advise someone who may be still there, like in that space of, okay, I get to clear a little bit of beliefs, I get to clear energy, I get to clear. So what are some practices they can start doing from now?
Yeah. So, the beginning is really not so much doing, it's more like being in the space. So there would be two things that come to mind. So when negative emotion arises, instead of like making yourself wrong or falling even deeper or thinking about all the reasons why you're, for example, sad, just sitting with the emotion and not making a story, but just sitting with the emotion, because it will, after a while, go, how do you say in English? Go away.
Yeah.
If you just sit with the emotion. So just sitting down when you feel sad and just feeling the sadness without the story, without making more reasons why you're sad, without why it's terrible that you're sad, but just paying attention to the sadness in you. And it gives it space. And it's kind of like you are acknowledging, it's kind of like a little child that's like, somebody hurt me. And the first thing they want is just being listened to. And so your body wants to listen to and have that space that you're sad. And then, we do a beautiful ceremony. So we take a candle and just taking, I don't have any here, but just taking a toothpick and blowing all that sadness in, really transforming it through light. Imagine my match. My match here is toothpick and I just take all that sadness with my breath. I blow it in and I just trust that my breath brings everything of that sadness, everything that has to do with it. I don't have to think about it, but I'm just blowing it in. And then I hold it in the candle and I just burn it and I bring it into light. And just trusting that it all transformed. And then if you want, you can actually go over the candle, if you see that, with your hand and just bring that light back into your heart. So, it's giving it to something higher, because our conscious mind, it's not like a cooking recipe, 10 minutes this and 10 minutes that, but just going in that mythic, especially at the time on the planet now, and letting it go and bringing that light back to you and just trusting in as often as you need it. Maybe, if you have something big, you might need it every 5 minutes one day, and just doing it, just blowing it in, giving it over.
Yeah. Wow, I love that. I love what that thing you shared. That's so beautiful. I never thought of something like that. So beautiful. Thank you for sharing. About aligning, you mentioned something about connecting with our bodies. So tell us more about that. Because you said like connecting with our bodies. You said also like just listening to the wisdom that our bodies can really kind of like show us. I'm not sure if I'm framing it right, but just speak more into this. I love that.
Yeah, totally. So, when I work with people, I use a drum or a rattle. So we go a little bit into trance. So it's much easier to connect. And if you think about it, every cell in the body has consciousness, right? It's like when I go, in my shamanic view, it's all like little soldiers that just want to do whatever we instruct them to. And so if they are not totally functioning, they have a reason. And so what I do with my client, we really journey into, let's say they have somebody has a stomach pain, right? We would travel into the stomach and we would literally look around where there is any tissue, anything that's like out of whack. And in that trance, it's so easy to know, right? Because it might not be so obvious, but you just get that feeling where something is off. And then we have a conversation with the cells and it's like they are off because they have a message. It's like the subconscious way of communicating is through the body. And so when you listen to that message, you can heal it, right?
I love that.
Makes sense?
Yeah, it totally does. I'm kind of interested also to know, is this like the only way we can truly deeply connect to our bodies, that we get to be in trance to do it? Or what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, but it's a practice. So, I actually, when I work with most of my clients, I don't work for one session. I work over a period of time. And so I teach them that intuition to their body. And so obviously, just even lying in bed, especially when you just woke up or when you go to sleep, when you're in this in-between state, putting your hands on your heart and just, asking heart, what do I need to know today? And that's like a beginning. That's really listening. But, any emotion, right? It starts with the emotion is really just the body saying, hey, there's something up. It's not like, oh my God, I'm afraid, how horrible, the fear has to go away. No, the fear is like a partner saying, hey, there's something up you need to pay attention to. And when we start going in that space, that there's like, oh, what's up there? Most of us are like, oh, I'm afraid, but I have to work. I have to do this. I have to do that. Maybe in a few years, I have time for the fear. And by then it can easily manifest in something physical because the body's like, hey, the fear, are you paying attention? Right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, yes, totally resonate with that. Totally resonate with that. Just one last question for you. I mean, I could just spend like longer time talking to you, but I'll just say one last question. What are some practices that you do like every day, like non-negotiable? Yeah.
Yeah, I actually, I spend probably a good 2 hours every day doing practices because I'm really realizing, and I can just highly recommend. And you can start with 5 minutes each. But, I do journaling, and how I do journaling is I write down, some of the things I'm upset about, some gratitude, and then I just leave it open for spirit to ask, what do I need to do today? What's most important today? And then I read some, higher vibrational scriptures. There are a lot of books. They don't have to be like, high, biblical or, high, but there are a lot of writings even on a higher consciousness that are lifting you up, that are very positive. And then I do some exercises, some yoga, some stretching, right? And then obviously, meditation. I think there's nothing to free your mind. There's just no other way around it. And I always emphasize that it's not about the meditation itself. The meditation is just a practice to set you up to be in that space for the rest of the day. And so each of those you can do. And then I actually visualize also the day or the week, even the month, the year, how I want it to feel like, what I want, what I want to get out of it. So those 5 things, and you can do each 5 minutes, you can do each half an hour, whatever is best for you. But that's, I noticed the days when I end a day and I didn't have time to properly sit down in the morning, it's not as a good day.
Yeah. I love that. I do the same. Like I like the minimum is like 2 hours. I love it. I honestly I love it.
There's a saying from the Dalai Lama. I don't know if you heard it. He said, and I meditate every day unless I'm really pressed by time. There's so much to do. I don't even know what to do fast first. Then I meditate 2 hours.
I love that. But seriously, that's literally me. It's like I have some mornings or like some days when I'm really like so busy, but I still like do my meditation. It's like, oh no, that's not going anywhere. that's like a priority right there. It's because what you said, it's you notice the difference when you don't.
Yes.
I feel like that's the power. It's like you notice when you just don't do your practice. And when you do it, like the shift that happens and how your day goes and how you are actually showing up in your day. So yeah, so share with us, I know you have a free gift for everyone.
Yes. I'm so excited because I'm actually starting next Friday, an angel series, and the very first session to connect with the angels is for free. And it's available, the recording, and it's just really, really great because you're gonna create a heart link with an angel of your choice, and you're gonna see how you can heal, how you can get guidance, how you can even send remote healing. And in the end, there is a hand mudra. So in the future, you never have to go through the whole process I'm guiding you through in that session. You're just going to do that hand mudra, and you're going to have in an instant that connection to the angel and that guidance. And I got the big guidance to offer this right now because we just so need it. We need that invisible guidance, as often as we can. So, I do it in the subway, on the red light, in the car, I just do the hand mudras and I'm like connected. And so I highly recommend.
I love that. I would love that. Yes, I will share with them, the links to get it, to access it during the replay. I'm just gonna ask you a question about what you shared right there. Is do we have the guidance even when we're not conscious of it?
Yeah, I mean it's like a fine line, and it's the paradox of spiritual growth, right? So we do have the guidance, but the invisible world really can only help us when we are like in an emergency. Otherwise, we have to ask. And so it's so important to ask, and most of us don't ask. And they want us to ask for the littlest thing. For, oh my God, let my coffee really be good and energize me today. And to, I want, the most amazing life on earth to benefit me and all around me, to ask it all.
I love that. To just ask. That's the thing. We forget to ask for what we want, like just the little things and everything, literally. I love that. So thank you, Nicola. Just do you have anything else you'd love to share in the name of self-love?
Yeah, whoever is here, maybe just take 10 seconds and in your mind, just ask right now for what you really want.
I love that.
Yes, perfect. If you take that learning with you, ask as often as you can for what you really want, because you are worth it, and the invisible world is there to give it to you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here with us and for like closing this beautiful event with love and magic. Thank you so much for saying yes to this.
You are so welcome, Salma. A wonderful, wonderful Sunday to everyone. Big kiss.
Thank you.